Loaded show on tap today as the good news keeps rolling in for your Golden State Warriors. We got a positive injury update on Andrew Wiggins, plus the Warriors' hot start to the preseason continues after a win over the Detroit Pistons. Before we get into all of that, though, the Dubs are 4-0. Like I said, a hot start to the preseason. Listen, we can't complain. I know it's the preseason. I know it doesn't matter in the grand scheme, but you guys got to be happy with what we've seen from the new look Warriors so far this year. So if you are happy with the 4-0 start, hit that thumbs up icon on today's video. I better see thousands of likes on today's show. If you guys are happy with the Warriors start to the preseason, hit that thumbs up icon. What's going on, Dub Nation? You're watching Warriors Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Tyler Smith, and an encouraging and positive injury update around Andrew Wiggins has surfaced heading into the fifth and penultimate preseason game for Golden State. Here's my guy, Monty Poole of NBC Sports Bay Area. Give him a follow on Twitter if you want. Andrew Wiggins has recovered from illness, but is still rounding into conditioning. He won't play Sunday versus Detroit, per Warriors coach Steve Kerr, but is expected to return Tuesday versus the Lakers. So, Andrew Wiggins did not play in the Warriors preseason matchup against Detroit, where they moved to 4-0. And now with 2 preseason games remaining, he looks to return back to the lineup to get back into shape heading into the regular season, where the Warriors will open up against the Portland Trail Blazers on Wednesday, October 23rd. Now, this is great news for the Golden State Warriors, right? Because 1, you get Andrew Wiggins back, but 2, because we really didn't have a designated return date for Andrew Wiggins set from Steve Kerr and from the Warriors, brass leading up to this announcement a bit, just a couple days ago from Monty Poole and Steve Kerr. We didn't know when Andrew Wiggins was going to return. We knew that, they said that the regular season start was in the cards. That was what we expected Andrew Wiggins to be ready for, the start of the regular season. But it's good to know that he's going to be ready for 2 preseason games to kind of get back into real basketball shape. I know he's been practicing in full over the past week or so, but not real simulated action against an opponent yet. Glad to get those 2 preseason games under his belt before the start of a new NBA season. Now, the weird part about this whole Andrew Wiggins situation is we really haven't known what the illness that he's been under is to this point. I mean, is it a stomach bug? Is it the flu? Is it COVID? I mean, they would have announced if it was COVID. So we really have kind of been left in the shadows. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments, but I really haven't seen anywhere of what this illness actually is that Andrew Wiggins is going through. Glad to know that he's through it, and maybe it has something to do with the personal matters that he's been going through, especially this summer. If Andrew Wiggins, if that's the case, then listen, all the time he needs to take to get back into a mindset where he's going to perform at a high level on the basketball court, take your time, Andrew Wiggins. I'm cool with that. If that's what the reasoning was, then I'm cool not knowing why, what the illness was and why Golden State didn't tell us the specifics about it. And like I said, these 2 preseason games are huge for Andrew Wiggins. I mean, we're looking at a guy who is going to be in a position where he's going to be vaulted very high up in the pecking order as far as what Golden State wants to do this season. Steve Kerr has said he wants him to be the second option. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. He doubled down on that comment. But listen, Andrew Wiggins, we are looking for him to get back into form. We're looking for him to get back into a position where he looks like the 2022 version of himself. On both ends of the floor, by the way. He needs to get back to the level of efficiency he was behind the three-point line, and he needs to be a very, very solid, I would say even more than solid, on-ball defender, because, Golden State, they need him on the wing there. They don't have a ton of elite wing defenders. Andrew Wiggins was that guy, and hopefully that is what is going to be the case as he gets back into real game action. And like I said, Steve Kerr has put a ton of responsibility on Andrew Wiggins heading into this season. With the depth that this Warriors roster has, it's great, but they don't have that number 2 scoring option, that big scoring punch. The void has been left by Klay Thompson, and it looks like Steve Kerr is putting that responsibility and a lot of that weight onto Andrew Wiggins. Here's what he had to say, doubling down basically on Andrew Wiggins' role this season. He said, "To me, I've already told him 6 3-pointers a game. He's a really good 3-point shooter. It was down a little bit last year, but since he's been here, 39, 40%, I want a lot of threes, and I want a lot of attacks at the rim." He shot 80+% from the foul line in the second half of the year last year. He looks really comfortable in every aspect of the game. And let's face it, with Klay gone, we need him to step up and be our second scorer after Steph. And we know he's perfectly capable of that. I'm not going to lie. Steve Kerr has a little bit more faith in Andrew Wiggins than I do as a secondary scoring option. As a complementary piece, Andrew Wiggins is a very, very good basketball player. But what do we know from Andrew Wiggins, especially during his time at Golden State? Has he ever been that elite shot creator? I mean, dating back to Minnesota, where he kind of had that responsibility a little bit more, he was incredibly inefficient over this first couple years of his career. Now, when he came to Golden State and became a complementary basketball player, somebody who didn't need the ball in his hands very often, he was shooting at a very, very high clip, 39%, 40% in multiple seasons for Golden State. Dating back to the 2022 season, I mean, he was putting up some of the best numbers of his career, but this is when, you had him a little bit down the pecking order, maybe as a third scoring option, sometimes even the fourth scoring option on certain nights. You had Klay Thompson in there. Is Andrew Wiggins ready to carry a weight of secondary scoring? Like there's going to be games where Steph Curry misses time this year. So Andrew Wiggins is going to be vaulted into number one scoring option in those scenarios. Is he capable of doing that for an entire 82-game stretch? I'm not so sure. But that's why I'm going to leave it up to you guys right now on today's pinned comment. Do you believe in Andrew Wiggins as the number two option up there? I believe in Andrew Wiggins to bounce back and have a much better season than he did last year, but do you believe in him to be a capable number two option that could potentially put this Warriors roster into postseason play? Next is Steph Curry. This will be the pinned comment on today's video. Type Y for yes, type N for no. YouTube's going to throw you a little ad break here, so go down in the comment section, answer our question, and we'll get on with the rest of today's show. Next up, we have more great news from the Warriors preseason as they have moved to 4-0. Got 2 preseason games left, couple more tune-ups before the start of the regular season, and the Warriors look good. We're going to talk about all that we saw from the Warriors preseason game against Detroit in just a moment. But before we do, I got to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, and that is PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 10 million active members. And they're giving you guys a sweet deal if you sign up with our promo code CLNS. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play a $5 entry. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. But what kind of entries are you playing? All you guys got to do is pick 2 to 6 player stat projections and just pick more or less. Think Justin Jefferson will get more than 83.5 yards next week? Christian McCaffrey to run for 75 yards when he gets back? Cook up hot takes with your friends and win real money this football season when you and your crew run your game on PrizePicks. But they also have basketball. Basketball season is upon us, and they have season-long projections. Here's what I'm rocking with heading into the 2024-25 basketball season. Steph Curry. Give me more than 26.5 points per game. He's going to shoulder a ton of weight offensively for Golden State this year. I like Steph to get some buckets. Zachary Rizache might be a little bit of a reach at that #1 pick for the Atlanta Hawks, so give me the less on the 10.3 points per game for him. And then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, my guy from OKC, he fills up the stat sheet as well, gets to the line a ton, just puts the ball in the cup. Give me more than 30.6 points per game for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You can tail my picks, you can fade my picks. Just make sure you go do it at PrizePicks. Use that code CLNS when you sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. Like I said, you don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. Play a $5 entry, $50 deposited into your account. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks. Run your game. So, what we've learned over the past couple of games for the Golden State Warriors is they're going to be an elite shooting team in this league. Listen, last year they were near the top of the league in three-point attempts per game. Wasn't the most efficient team in the entire league, but hey, they were really, really efficient against the Detroit Pistons. Now, dating back to their first preseason game, or first 2 preseason games where they were putting up 45, 50 three-pointers a night, they didn't really hit that mark against Detroit. They only put up 39 three-point attempts, but they shot it at an incredibly efficient clip. 18 for 39. 9 Golden State Warriors ended up hitting a 3 against the Pistons here. I mean, listen, we got to give our props to Buddy Hield, right? I mean, as far as a guy who is vaulted into a position where, Klay Thompson leaves, and there's an elite shooting void left on this roster as far as, catch and shoot, coming off screens, curling onto the wing, and hitting threes in motion. Buddy Hield fits that role like a glove, and I think he's going to do a great job of it as he hit 4 of 6 from beyond the arc. Coming off the bench for Golden State, Buddy Hield is going to play a massive role. Lindy Waters, what a start for this guy in the preseason. They are making it a very tough decision to leave Lindy Waters off of the active roster for Golden State this year. He continues to light it up from 3. Jonathan Kuminga. We're going to come back to Kuminga in a second because I have a great great thing to say about my man JK. Brandon Podziemski put in 2 for 3. Moses Moody 2 for 5. GP2 got in the mix. Quentin Post even hit his first 3 as a Golden State Warrior. That fired me up. And then DeAnthony Melton, not super efficient, but we know what he can do from beyond the arc. Blake Hinson also hit a 3 as well for Golden State. But back to Jonathan Kuminga real quick. Listen, Jonathan Kuminga, we knew heading into the season, needed to have an uptick in his three-point volume as well as his three-point efficiency. And it looks like that he's getting to that point right now. 3 of 5 from three-pointer against the Pistons in the preseason, and he was getting them in a variety of ways. I know he was talking about working on his catch and shoot all summer long, but what I saw from Jonathan Kuminga was a pretty wide shot diet as far as the attempts that he took from beyond the arc. I mean, as far as his 3 makes go, he did hit one off the catch and shoot, but then he hit one, and I guess the second one could be determined as a catch and shoot as well, but it was in transition, balls kicked up, Jonathan Kuminga's running down the sideline, catches it quick on the wing, in transition, quick pull-up 3, good. And the third one, just sizing his defender up, quick 2 dribbles, come close to the three-point line, pull up for 3 in a defender's grill. Just listen, if Jonathan Kuminga can get three-point attempts to drop from multiple ways this season, that's going to make him dynamic. Listen, Jonathan Kuminga has something to prove heading into this year. Steve Kerr has repeatedly said that he does not believe that Jonathan Kuminga is capable of playing the small forward spot if there is not a shooting center in the lineup. Jonathan Kuminga is proving Steve Kerr wrong right now. I hope he continues that because, listen, Golden State needs it. They need a big punch from Jonathan Kuminga. Hopefully he continues the hot shooting. And, listen, he'll be playing small forward a lot more if that continues. Now, another thing we learned, kind of asked ourselves before this game, because Stephen Curry and Draymond Green did not suit up against the Detroit Pistons, who is going to initiate, who is going to create, and who is going to facilitate the offense that Golden State runs? The easy answer would be Brandon Podziemski, right? But before we get to pods, I want to talk about just the big picture for Golden State. They committed 20 turnovers against Detroit. And listen, let's not sit here and act like Detroit is some elite defensive squad, especially in the preseason. Listen, we know things are going to be sloppy, but you're playing the Pistons, man. Take care of the basketball. 3 of those came from DeAnthony Melton. 3 of them came from Moses Moody, and 5 of them came from Brandon Podziemski. So 11 of your 20 turnovers were coming from your 3 starters who you had in the backcourt against Detroit. And honestly, Brandon Podziemski, after everything that's been invested in him this year, you got to grow up fast, man. Honestly, with the responsibility that's going to be on your plate heading into this year as the commander of the second unit, what it looks to be most likely. But there's probably going to be some nights where he starts as well. I was thinking about a word that I was going to use for Brandon Podziemski here and like what we needed from him. We need him to be trustworthy. We need him to not only be competent, not only be efficient, we need him to be trustworthy. We can't have Brandon Podziemski come in for the second unit and just drop 3 turnovers. It just can't happen. Brandon Podziemski can't have 3 turnovers a night. I mean, there's going to be nights where he has more. Can't be a consistent thing where you're getting 3 turnovers a game because in the time that you're going to be given by Golden State, they're going to be asking you to take care of the basketball, slow things down. I know you want to get it up in transition. I know you want to move fast, but sometimes that results in sloppy play, and we can't have that if the Warriors want to run like a well-oiled machine. But with that being said, what is your biggest takeaway of the preseason so far? I got one more takeaway from the game against Detroit real quick. But through 4 games, Dubs are 4-0. Let me know down in the comment section what you think your biggest takeaway is from the Warriors preseason thus far. And last, I know this is a crazy takeaway, Trayce Jackson-Davis. This man is elite, and I was concerned heading into the season about what this Golden State Warriors front court would look like. And would Trayce Jackson-Davis actually get the vaulted up role that I think he deserved heading into this year? It looks like he is going to. And honestly, over the first couple of games of the preseason, Trayce Jackson-Davis was playing a little timid. He was playing a little scared, in my opinion. Yesterday, against the Pistons, this man was dynamite. Double-double in 27 minutes, a +4, and you know he's going to be efficient. And caught a couple of lobs. But what I really, really want to focus on here is the 3 blocks that Trayce Jackson-Davis had. You know, standing at 6'9", the Warriors don't have a ton of size in the front court. But Trayce Jackson-Davis plays a lot bigger than his 6'9" frame suggests. He had a possession where the Warriors were kind of caught lacking. It was either in transition or they kind of got beat backdoor or something like that. The ball was around the rim, and they had no real numbers, no real advantage. The Pistons should have had an easy bucket. Trayce Jackson-Davis goes up and rejects the first attempt at the rim. Then Jalen Duren goes and gets the board and puts it back up himself. Trayce Jackson-Davis comes vertically off of 2 feet and sends Jalen Duren's shot back. Jalen Duren, I don't know if you guys know this, is one of the lengthiest and strongest young centers in this league. One of the best at the rim finishers that we have in this league. And Trayce Jackson-Davis said, get that mess out of here. I love what I've seen from TJD so far, and if he could be that type of rim protector for Golden State, that's going to go a long way because, like I said, the center spot for Golden State is still concerning. We don't know what we're going to get out of Kevon Looney. A couple of nice mid-ranges. Shout out to Big Loon Dog for getting a couple mid-ranges down against the Pistons. Haven't seen that three-point arsenal yet. We're waiting on that, Looney. But the center spot was a point of concern for me heading into this year. Trayce Jackson-Davis has alleviated some of my nervousness there in that front court, and I hope that he actually ends up starting a good portion of Golden State's games this season. I'm looking for a big second year out of TJD. And that'll do it for today's edition of Golden State Warriors Today. Like I said, make sure you guys are subscribed because we're covering your Golden State Warriors like nobody else on YouTube. YouTube.com/WarriorsTV. We'll see you guys in the next one. Let's go Dubs!